King Harris didn't come to argue, he came with proof. When he stepped onto 50 Cent's property, tensions were already high, but inside that USB was something that changed everything. The moment 50 saw it, his whole energy shifted. No jokes, no smiles. Then a message appeared. They're watching. And the truth started unfolding. This wasn't supposed to go public. No cameras, no headlines, no witnesses speaking out. But something slipped. A video, a signal, a moment that looked planned. Now King Harris is recovering. And one powerful name is being whispered everywhere. No accusations, just questions. And those
Around him,
questions, they're
always
getting
predict conflict
louder.
of direct threats between
Right now it's divided, but still contained. And history shows one thing clearly. Containment in high-profile situations never lasts forever. It only holds until something breaks it. Then quietly, something shifted behind the scenes. Not a live stream, not a post, not a public statement. But paperwork. Silent, strategic, serious. A formal preservation request was allegedly filed through legal channels, aimed at securing surveillance footage, phone records, and digital communications connected to that night. And that immediately changes the atmosphere. Because preservation requests aren't about rumors. They're about preparation. And preparation usually means one thing: litigation might be coming. And when litigation enters the picture, discovery follows. And discovery doesn't politely ask questions, it forces them open. Subpoenas, records, messages, call logs, location data. Not just from those directly involved, but anyone even remotely connected. And that's where things start getting uncomfortable for powerful people. Because even without direct involvement, proximity, timing, and communication can build narratives that take months to untangle legally. Now, to be clear, there is still no official filing publicly naming 50 Cent in any confirmed legal action tied to this incident. No indictment, no verified civil case. Which means we are still in a gray zone. But gray zones are where tension builds, not fades. Meanwhile, sources suggest T.I.'s approach has shifted, less emotional, less reactive, more focused. And that's often more dangerous, because emotion reacts but focus calculates. Then came another development that no one expected. A mutual industry contact allegedly reached out to both sides, proposing a private sit-down. No cameras, no blogs, no audience. Just a closed-door conversation. Because if this is misunderstanding, it ends there. But if it is, then that meeting could change everything. Right now, King remains completely out of public view. No interviews, no statements. Which suggests legal advice may already be in motion. And when lawyers step in, public noise usually stops escalating carelessly. But the biggest twist is still unconfirmed. And that's the idea that additional footage may exist and has not yet been released. If it shows randomness, the entire narrative collapses. If it shows coordination, everything escalates instantly. And that's what makes this situation so unstable. No direct accusations have been made, no clear denials either. Just silence and interpretation filling the gaps. If the preservation request is accurate, it signals one thing clearly: preparation. Not war, but readiness. And readiness means nobody involved is treating this lightly. Right now, both legacies are still intact. No formal charges, no public legal battle. But tension doesn't disappear when headlines fade. It lingers quietly, in conversations, in industry rooms, in unexpected moments. So here we are. One incident that may have been random, or something more layered. A son recovering, a father calculating, a mogul staying silent, and a legal door left slightly open. The next move won't trend first. It will surface quietly, then hit all at once. And when it does, it won't feel like speculation anymore. It will feel final or explosive. Either way, this story isn't finished. It's paused, and whatever comes next won't be accidental. They thought it was just noise. Another headline, another rumor, another rap-adjacent controversy that would flare up for 48 hours and disappear. But at 2:17 in the morning, everything changed. An ambulance cut through the streets of Atlanta, sirens screaming, red lights tearing through the dark. Inside, King Harris, son of hip-hop heavyweight T.I., reportedly unconscious after a late-night altercation. At first, it sounded like another incident. Then the details started coming in. This wasn't random. This wasn't messy. This felt calculated. Within minutes of the news leaking, one name began circulating in hushed tones across social media. 50 Cent. No charges. No official statement. Just whispers. But in hip-hop, whispers move faster than facts. Witnesses claimed multiple men approached King's vehicle, not chaotic, coordinated, not spontaneous, deliberate. And then one phrase reportedly cut through the chaos. Tell your daddy. That's when it stopped feeling like a fight and started feeling like a message. Hours later, cameras caught T.I. outside the hospital. Eyes red, jaw tight, silent. A man known for composure, visibly shaken. Because in that moment, he wasn't a rap icon. He was a father. Then things got even stranger. A cryptic Instagram post, allegedly from someone in 50's circle, appeared and disappeared within minutes. But screenshots don't disappear. Now the internet is split. Fans are choosing sides. Insiders are staying quiet. Because if there is a connection, even indirect, this isn't just drama anymore. This is the kind of tension that doesn't stay online. To understand why this situation feels so explosive, you have to go back, because this didn't start in a parking lot. This has been building. Slowly, quietly. For months, King Harris has never been invisible. Growing up as the son of T.I. meant living under a microscope, every move questioned, every word judged. To some, he was confident. To others, entitled. But one thing was clear. He wasn't going to stay silent. Over the past year, King became increasingly vocal online, responding to critics, clapping back, addressing rumors head-on. At first, it felt like self-defense. Then it got louder. And louder voices attract louder enemies. On the other side, you have 50 Cent. Not just a rapper, a strategist. A businessman, a media powerhouse. Someone who understands how to control narratives without saying much at all. When he posts, people react. When he jokes, people feel it. And when he says nothing, people start asking why. There was never an official feud between the two camps. No diss tracks, no direct confrontations. But the tension. It was there. Subtle comments. Cryptic replies. Moments that fans picked up on instantly. Nothing explosive, just energy. And in hip-hop, energy matters. Insiders claim there were private conversations months ago. Not threats, not ultimatums. But warnings. Lines that maybe shouldn't be crossed publicly. King, young and confident, didn't seem interested in backing down. In one live stream weeks before the incident, he reportedly said, "I'm not ducking nobody." At the time, it sounded like confidence. Now, it sounds like foreshadowing. Behind the scenes, T.I. was reportedly trying to guide him, advising him to move differently, to understand that certain names operate on a different level. Because 50 Cent has a long history. Calculated responses. Strategic silence. Situations that escalate in ways people don't always see coming. But here's the truth. There is no confirmed evidence linking him to what happened. No official threats. No verified confrontation. Which makes this situation even more dangerous. Because now it's about perception. And perception is powerful. Right now, it looks like a collision of legacies. The Harris name, deeply rooted in Atlanta. The G-Unit brand, global, influential. And in the middle, a young voice trying to prove something, in a space that doesn't always forgive mistakes. So what really happened that night? Was this retaliation? A coincidence that spiraled out of control? Or something deeper that the public hasn't seen yet? Because here's what we do know. It didn't feel random. It felt targeted, layered, like the result of something that had been building long before those ambulance lights hit the street. Now the question isn't just what happened. It's what happens next. Because when pride, reputation, and power collide in hip-hop, things don't usually end quietly. And if King Harris knows more than he's saying, the next move, the environment didn't feel dangerous. It felt normal. Low lighting, quiet exits, the kind of place where people assume nothing serious is about to happen. But something was off. At least, that's what one bystander would later say. A black SUV sat parked unusually close to the exit, engine running, windows tinted, no one stepping out. Just waiting. At first, no one questioned it. Until King stepped outside. That's when everything shifted. Two men exited the SUV almost at the same time. A third approached from the opposite direction, like he'd already been there, blending in, watching. 3 angles. 1 target. Witnesses say it didn't start with violence. It started with words. Heard you've been loud. You don't know who you're talking about. Nothing physical, not yet. Just tension. But tension doesn't stay contained for long. One witness claims a final line was said, low, cold, deliberate. This ain't the internet. And then, it exploded. A shove. A stumble. A punch. Then chaos. Phones hit the ground, people scattered, someone slipped hard against the concrete. Another figure allegedly swung something metallic. And in less than 30 seconds, King Harris was down. Paramedics were called almost immediately. Blood visible. Disorientation. Witnesses already disappearing into the night. But then, the first real twist surfaced. A nearby storefront camera had captured part of the incident. Not clearly enough to identify faces with certainty, but clearly enough to show something else. Coordination. One of the men appeared to signal with his hand before anything physical began. Not panic. Not confusion. A signal. And that single detail changed everything. Because random fights do usually start with synchronized positioning. That's when the internet did what it always does. It went into overdrive. Clips were slowed down, frames were frozen, shadows enhanced, outfits compared. And then, one blurred face started making rounds. Familiar. Not a celebrity, not a known figure, but someone who had previously been photographed at events, alongside people connected to 50 Cent's extended circle. Not proof, but proximity. And in situations like this, proximity is enough to ignite a fire. The video was quickly taken down. But by then, it didn't matter. Because screenshots don't disappear. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the tension was escalating in a different way. T.I. reportedly arrived furious. Not emotional first, focused. Demanding. One source claims he immediately asked to see security footage. Another says he kept repeating the same question. Who sent them? Not who hit him, who sent them. That distinction mattered, because it suggests this didn't feel random to him, not even for a second. Then came the first real bombshell. An anonymous insider claimed that when King briefly regained awareness, he said just 3 words. "I know him." Not them. Him. Singular. Meaning at least one of the attackers wasn't a stranger. And if that's true, this wasn't random. This was personal. Hours later, another layer was added. A cryptic Instagram story, allegedly from someone loosely tied to 50 Cent's network, appeared briefly. Energy get returned. Then it vanished. But again, too late. The internet had already captured it. Was it coincidence? Or a digital slip? Still no direct evidence. No confirmed link. No verified communication. Just connections. And connections build narratives fast. Then came a detail that shifted everything again. Law enforcement sources reportedly confirmed. No weapon was recovered at the scene, which means if the injuries were serious, it likely wasn't about a weapon. It was about numbers. Multiple attackers. Overwhelming force. And that reinforced what people were already thinking. This didn't feel like a fight. It felt like a setup. Because 3-on-1. That's not equal. That's intentional. And then the phrase came back. The one witnesses couldn't stop repeating. Tell your daddy. Tell your daddy. That line spread across social media like gasoline hitting fire. Because now this wasn't just about King. This was about legacy. About names. About generations. All while 50 Cent remained completely silent. No jokes. No trolling. No denial. Which for him is unusual. Because historically, silence from him doesn't mean absence. It means calculation. On the other side, T.I. reportedly took things even further. Within 24 hours, sources claim he contacted private investigators, not just relying on law enforcement. Which raises a question. If this was random, why go that far? At that point, the internet split in two. One side calling it a coordinated hit. The other calling it dangerous speculation. Because again, no proof. Just patterns. And in high-profile situations, patterns can be enough to start a war of perception. Then came the phrase that took things to another level. Green light. A blog claimed alleged messages between 2 attackers referenced it. Unverified, unconfirmed. But explosive. Because green light doesn't mean accident. It means permission. Approval. A go-ahead. And if permission was given, then this wasn't just an altercation anymore. It was something much bigger. Something organized. Something intentional. And the scariest part, no one publicly was saying a word. But here's the question that changed everything. By who? That's the moment this stopped being just an altercation and started feeling like something much bigger. A potential setup. A possible conspiracy. A narrative fueled as much by silence as by speculation. Because here's the reality. Legally, nothing is confirmed. No charges. No verified connections. No official statements tying anyone high-profile to what happened. But emotionally, people are reacting like it's already proven. And when those two worlds collide, facts and feelings, that's when things get dangerous. Right now, King is recovering physically. But what happened doesn't just leave bruises. It leaves questions. It leaves paranoia. And it leaves his name, suddenly linked to one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop. 50 Cent. That kind of association doesn't fade quietly. On the other side, T.I. isn't just thinking emotionally. He's thinking strategically. Because if accusations get thrown without proof, that opens the door to defamation. But if proof does surface, then this situation doesn't just escalate. It detonates. This is the most volatile moment. Peak tension, zero clarity, and uncertainty mixed with pride. That creates outcomes no one can predict. Because the real twist wasn't just the coordination. It was recognition. I know him. If that statement holds true, then someone connected, directly or indirectly, to power could be exposed. And the moment proximity becomes documented connection, everything changes. By sunrise, this wasn't just an incident anymore. It was a wildfire. Clips flooded TikTok, slowed down, zoomed in, analyzed frame by frame. Threads mapped timelines. Instagram pages posted side-by-side comparisons. Faces from blurry footage next to old event photos, tied to people around 50 Cent's extended circle. No confirmation, just comparisons. But in the court of public opinion, that's enough. Within hours, #Pray for King was trending. First in Atlanta, then nationwide. Under T.I.'s posts, comments poured in. Stay strong. We know who behind it. Protect your family. But on the other side of the internet, a completely different narrative. Supporters of 50 Cent pushed back hard. Show proof. Y'all reaching. Stop connecting dots that ain't there. Two camps. Two realities. Both convinced they were right. Then things escalated again. A well-known hip-hop blogger went live, claiming a source close to the investigation revealed something critical. Authorities were requesting additional surveillance footage. Why? Because the positioning of the attackers suggested coordination. That word again. Coordinated. Not random. And then, a second video surfaced. Longer, clearer. Still not enough to confirm identities, but enough to raise new questions. One of the alleged attackers appeared to be on the phone before King even stepped outside. Then, right as King exited, the man put the phone away and gave a subtle nod. The timing, too precise, almost rehearsed, and that detail reignited everything. Because now the question wasn't just what happened. It was, who was on the other end of that call? To be clear, there is still no verified proof linking that call to any major figure. But perception doesn't wait for proof. It runs past it. The clip was taken down quickly. Copyright claim. But that only made things worse. Because when something disappears, people assume it was never meant to be seen. Then came a post that poured fuel on everything. 50 Cent uploaded a gym selfie. Caption: Energy don't lie. No names. No context. But the timing. Impossible to ignore. The internet exploded. Some saw it as coincidence. Others saw it as a message. Subtle, calculated, intentional. Then T.I. responded directly. A photo from the hospital, holding his son's hand. Caption: My son ain't entertainment. That line changed everything. Because it stripped away the drama and replaced it with something real. Family. Then came the biggest twist yet. An anonymous legal insider claimed King had officially identified at least one attacker in a formal statement. If true, this situation just crossed into documentation. And documentation means accountability. It gets deeper. That same source claimed the identified individual had previously been seen at an industry event, one attended by people connected to 50 Cent's extended network. Still no direct link, just proximity. But in legal situations, proximity can open doors. Subpoenas, records, questions nobody once asked. Now the industry is watching carefully. Subtle tweets, vague warnings. When pride meets youth, OG's gotta move smart. Protect the next generation. No names, but everyone understands the context. Behind the scenes, sources say quiet mediation may already be in motion. Not lawyers yet, but influential voices trying to cool things down before this turns public in a way that can't be reversed. Because powerful people understand one thing. If accusations fly without proof, lawsuits follow. But if proof surfaces, then this doesn't stay private. It becomes explosive. And right now, both sides are choosing silence. 50 Cent hasn't denied anything directly. T.I. hasn't accused anyone directly. Every word is calculated. Every move is measured. Because when reputations built over decades are on the line, nothing is accidental. King, now reportedly recovering in private, has said nothing. No live streams. No reactions. No statements. Just silence. And silence can mean a lot of things. Strategy, healing, or preparation. Because at this point, this isn't about a fight anymore. It's about perception, evidence, timing. If more footage drops, everything changes. If statements go public, everything changes. If one direct accusation is made, everything changes. And one question still hangs over everything. If this was random, why does it feel orchestrated? And if it was orchestrated, who benefits from staying silent? Because this right here, this is the most dangerous phase of any high-profile conflict. The waiting phase, where nothing is confirmed, but everything is possible. This is the phase no one talks about. Not the fight, not the footage, not the headlines. The waiting, where tension simmers, where lawyers start whispering, where narratives form before facts ever arrive. And one move, just one, can either end everything quietly or turn it into mething neither side can control. Because the internet didn't just react. It split. Within 24 hours, timelines turned into battlefields. Not discussion, defense. Not curiosity, accusation. People weren't watching anymore. They were choosing sides. On one side, supporters of T.I. framed this as something deeper than an incident. They reposted clips of him speaking about fatherhood, about guiding the next generation, about protecting his family. And the message in that camp became simple. A son was hurt. And it didn't feel random. Don't play with people's kids. That's not rap beef, that's family. OG's gotta move smarter. On the other side, supporters of 50 Cent pushed back just as hard, calling the narrative reckless, demanding proof. Where's the evidence? Stop connecting dots that ain't there. Y'all just want a villain. Two sides. Two realities. Both convinced they're right. And that's when this stopped being about one night. It became about legacy. T.I. representing one era, Atlanta dominance, respect, foundation. 50 Cent representing another, strategy, power, control. Now people weren't debating footage. They were debating philosophies. Even celebrity reactions started surfacing, careful, calculated. Protect the youth always. No names, but the timing said enough. Social media destroys faster than facts can repair. That one hit differently, because it wasn't taking sides. It was warning everyone. Radio hosts picked it up next. Is this real tension or an internet illusion? Are we watching a narrative being built in real time? And that phrase stuck. A narrative being built. Because the more this spread, the clearer it became. Perception was moving faster than truth. Blogs leaned into it. Not direct accusations, just strategic wording. Alleged affiliate linked. Close ties questioned. Sources suggest coordination. No claims, just proximity. And proximity, that's powerful. But then the pressure shifted somewhere else. Money. Both T.I. and 50 Cent aren't just artists. They're brands, streaming deals, business ventures, partnerships backed by people who don't care about drama. They care about headlines. One insider claimed at least one corporate partner quietly paused discussions. Not canceled. Paused. And that says everything. Because companies don't react to truth. They react to risk. Meanwhile, the internet kept escalating. TikTok timelines, YouTube breakdowns, Twitter threads analyzing every post, every emoji, every silence. One viral take. Silence is strategy. Another fired back. Silence is guilt. Two interpretations. Zero confirmation. And the longer the silence lasted, the louder the speculation became. But then something shifted. Neutral fans, people who weren't invested, started pulling back. This isn't entertaining anymore. Someone got hurt. This isn't content. That shift mattered. Because suddenly, King Harris wasn't trending as a personality. He was trending as a victim. And that changes everything. Still, neither T.I. nor 50 Cent made direct accusations. And that silence didn't calm things down. It made it worse. Because when leaders don't speak clearly, the crowd fills in the blanks. Behind the scenes, insiders say attempts were made to cool things down. Quiet conversations, mutual connections stepping in. Because everyone understands the stakes. If accusations go public without proof, that's defamation. But if proof does surface, that's not drama anymore. That's legal warfare. What we're watching now isn't just reaction. It's polarization. People aren't debating facts. They're defending identities. And when loyalty overrides logic, situations grow beyond control. Because now this represents something bigger. Fatherhood, power, youth, respect, reputation. And here's the reality. Until something concrete emerges. Documents, charges, verified evidence. This story lives in interpretation. But everything is sitting on a knife's edge. One wrong move. One direct accusation. One reckless statement. One confirmed link. And the entire tone shifts instantly. Right now, it's contained. But containment is fragile. Then, just as things started to quiet down, something happened behind the scenes. No live stream. No headlines. Just paperwork. Quiet, strategic. Dangerous. According to a connected media source, a legal preservation request was allegedly filed. Not a lawsuit. Not charges. But a request to preserve everything. Surveillance footage. Phone records. Digital communication. That changes everything. Because preservation isn't about rumors. It's about preparation. Preparation for what? Litigation. And litigation means discovery. Discovery means subpoenas. And subpoenas, they pull private conversations into the light. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because if discovery happens, it doesn't just look at the attackers. It looks at connections, call logs, locations, timelines, anyone within range. And that's the RT powerful people don't like. Because even without direct proof, proximity plus timing plus communication can create questions that don't go away. Now this part matters. There is still no confirmed legal action naming 50 Cent. No charges. No indictment. No public filing. Which means this story still lives in the gray. And gray areas. That's where tension survives the longest. Meanwhile, insiders say T.I. has shifted tone privately. Not emotional. Not explosive. Focused. And that's more dangerous than anger. Because anger reacts. Focus plans. And if something is being planned, then this story isn't ending. It's just entering its next phase. And then came the quiet move nobody saw coming. No headlines, no posts, no statements, just a message sent behind the scenes. A mutual industry contact allegedly reached out to both camps, proposing something simple but dangerous. A private sit-down. No cameras. No blogs. No audience. Just a room. Closed doors. Man to man. If that meeting happens, it could end everything. Or confirm everything. Because if this is all a misunderstanding, it gets resolved in that room. Quietly. But if either side walks out feeling disrespected, then what comes next won't be quiet. Right now, King Harris remains completely out of the public eye. No interviews, no posts, no reaction. And that silence, it usually means one thing. Lawyers are involved. And when legal advice enters the picture, reckless moves stop. Everything becomes calculated, measured, prepared. But here's the part no one can ignore. A journalist quietly hinted that more footage may exist. Not released. Not confirmed. Just sitting somewhere. And that changes everything. Because if new footage drops, this entire story flips. If it shows randomness, the narrative collapses. If it shows coordination, the narrative explodes. And right now, both sides are doing something very deliberate. Nothing. No direct accusations from T.I. No direct denial from 50 Cent tied to specifics. Which means the door is still wide open. Open for peace. Open for legal action. Open for silence. Open for escalation. And then there's that preservation request. If it's real, it means preparation. Not panic. Preparation. And preparation doesn't guarantee conflict. But it guarantees one thing. Nobody involved is taking this lightly. Right now, both legacies are still intact. No charges. No lawsuits. No public war. But tension doesn't disappear just because the headlines slow down. It waits. In private rooms. At public events. In small moments. The wrong look. The wrong lyric. The wrong move. So here we are. An incident that might have been random. Or might have been something much deeper. A son recovering. A father calculating. A mogul staying publicly unmoved. And a legal door. Left slightly open. Because the next move, it won't trend first. It'll happen quietly. And then, it'll surface. And when it does, it won't feel like speculation anymore. It'll feel final. Or explosive. Either way, this story isn't over. It's paused. Now ask yourself this. Strip away the hashtags, the blogs, the slowed down clips. What do you actually believe happened? Was this just a random moment that the internet turned into something bigger? Or was this tension that's been building for months, finally boiling over? Because here's the truth. Perception shapes legacy. And right now, both T.I. and 50 Cent are navigating something that could either fade away or come back louder than ever. So let me ask you, is silence strategy? Or is it avoidance? If that private meeting happens, should it stay behind closed doors? Or does the public deserve answers? And if more footage exists, do you want to see it? Or would that just make everything worse? Drop your thoughts below, but keep it respectful. Because behind all of this are real people, real families, real consequences. If you think this is over, comment finished. If you think this is just the calm before something bigger, comment not yet. And if you want real updates, not rumors, not speculation, real developments, stay locked in. Because when stories go quiet like this, it usually means something is being planned. And if the next move comes without warning, you won't want to miss it. Because this was never just about one night. It's about legacy. It's about pride. It's about what happens when power collides with perception. And tension like this, it doesn't disappear. It comes back, stronger,